And now we're on with Stormy Buonantony, who you can find over at VSiN and the Lombardi Line. Stormy, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And well done on my name pronunciation because people typically have a pretty hard time with it.
Yes, enough working on it. We finally got it right. Um,
Beautiful.
s- you ordinarily, when people look at you, they would probably not guess that you are good on this gambling and good on these gambling lines. How did you get into this?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I was born and raised in the city of Las Vegas, first of all. So I feel like it was kind of in my blood a little bit from day one. I also have an uncle who is an odds maker here in town. My grandpa ran the old Santa Anita and Rose Bowl sports books in town. And so betting is like, I think I tell people this and I feel like it sounds weird, but betting is the way I really learned sports when I was a little kid. Growing up watching games, I'd be sitting on the couch with my dad and we'd have four games up. And instead of it being like I'm a 49ers fan, for example, instead of just watching the Niners game, we'd have four games up. My dad would say, okay, top left corner, we're rooting for points. So we need all the touchdowns that you can root for. I'm like 5 years old. Bottom corner, we need no points. So we just, anytime anything good happens, we're sad. It's like, okay. And that's just how I learned about sports. It's weird, and I know it's a way of life that people aren't accustomed to, but it's everything for me. And I feel so fortunate after working so many jobs early on in my career where it seemed like talking about betting and gambling was so taboo that because of legalization across the country, it's so much more widespread, and I get to do it for a living now, which is unbelievable.
That's dope. Now I want to get to the to like the gambling for dummies, for people who
Okay.
don't necessarily understand gambling, but then and they're confused when Uncle Jeff is yelling at the TV, even though it's a 20-point game with 3 seconds left, and somebody kicks a field goal or makes a free throw. Can you explain to them why they're yelling at the television?
Sure. And it's funny because I've learned over the years that it doesn't matter how much a wager is. It could be for $5, it could be for $5,000. You are sweating it out like it's life and death. Like people are invested in these wagers, which it's so much fun. And honestly, I always tell some of my girlfriends that maybe haven't been the most involved in sports and they are coming over to my house to watch a game with our friends, like, hey, let's get a little prop bet for you. So they have something to root for and then they're into it and then everybody's watching the game and having a great time. But yes, it's really interesting, especially like you're watching college basketball, for example, and it's a 10-point game with 10 seconds to go, but somebody's at the foul line and you're like, game's over, let's flip the channel. I'd be there like, no, 10-point game. If he makes this free throw, it's not going to cover anymore and I'm losing my mind. So that's why it happens, but it's fun and I think it's engaging for a lot of people. And like I mentioned with legalization, I think it's becoming a lot more important for the day-to-day broadcasters to have a sense of that
Yep.
and recognize that the audience that you have right now while other people are changing the channel are the people that want to know whether or not that free throw is going in.
For sure. How can you explain to people what exactly the line is? Because when they see numbers, they're like, it says minus 120 plus 300. What do those things mean?
Sure. And I am useless at math. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. So let's just put that out there first and foremost, because I know that the board can be a little bit intimidating. And even sometimes when you're scrolling through your app and you see all these numbers, what does this mean? But if you see a minus 120, for example, as a bet, the 120 number is that little bit of a tax that the sports book is basically making you pay to bet something that is slightly more than 50% likely to happen. So if you bet a minus 120, if you're putting $100 on it, that means you have to bet $120 to win back 100. If it's plus 120, you bet $100 to win 120. So that's the way that I always think it's the easiest is like you think the plus is you bet 100 to win that number and the minus is you have to bet that number to win 100. And that's kind of the way that I always think about it. And when you see the word money line or ML, that just means you're picking the winner. You're just picking the straight up winner. You don't have to worry about the spread. You don't have to worry about anything else. It's just the winner. But when you see the spread and you see a minus 3.5, that's basically telling you that you're going to need to win that game. If you're betting or laying 3.5 points, that you need to win that game by 4 or more for you to win your bet.
Okay, another term that people have probably heard that they may not understand is parlay. What is a
Mm-hmm.
parlay bet?
So a parlay is when you're taking any of those things. So it could be a money line or a spread or a total, and you're pairing them together with multiple items. So if you say, I'm going to take the 49ers to win the game, and I'm going to parlay that with the under 47.5. So now you have two bets, but you can go up to 3, 4, 5. Why do I have balloons happening? What's that? Where did those balloons come from? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I did not, but apparently they really liked that parlay. So maybe the balloons mean it's going to cash. But that's all that means, is that you're tying a few things together. And so in that case, with those two bets being on the same game, that's when you hear SGP, same game parlay. That's that verbiage. But you can do it with anything. You could say, I'm going to bet the 49ers to win on the money line, and I'm going to bet the 76ers to lose, and I'm going to bet Joel Embiid. Oh, I guess he's not playing anymore. So
No,
maybe let's
right?
stick Joel Embiid out of this. But that's all I'm saying, is you can pair a few different things together, and that'll amplify your payout.
Yep, but sometimes people take parlay too far. I got a 20-team
Too far.
parlay. Like, bro, you just gave away two. You just
See, that's a donation. We call that's a donation to the sports book sometimes when you do that. But whenever the people are doing like the 20-leg parlays or however many the max out is, I'm like, you must really not like your job, because you're looking for an escape. You're looking for the $5 that's going to win you $1 million so you can get out of here.
That's a good point. And the final term, and this one has to do with the Super Bowl, because there are a lot of prop bets. So can you tell them what the prop bets are, because a lot of people are looking at those for the Super Bowl?
Yes. And so prop bets are available throughout the course of the regular season for the majority of sports, where you could be betting quarterback Patrick Mahomes over 260.5 passing yards for him to have. So that means he needs to throw for 261 or more for you to win that bet. Same thing with somebody just to score a touchdown or to score the first touchdown of a game. But for the Super Bowl specifically, instead of there being 10, 20, 30, 50 options, there's 1,000 plus. It is unbelievable. If you can think it, you can probably bet it at one of your sports books, whether it be DraftKings, whether it be whomever. And it's unbelievable, the menu that they have available, from Taylor Swift props, how many times is she going to be shown on the broadcast, to what color Gatorade is going to be poured on the game-winning coach. You can even bet the coin toss, which, by the way, I do want to give DraftKings a shout out for. It is insane to me that sports books make you pay a minus 105 tax for heads or tails in the coin toss.
When it's a 50-50 proposition.
Exactly. But DraftKings, why I'm giving them a shout out, is because they do it at even money. And even money is when, if you're scrolling through your sportsbook and you see EV or plus 100, it means whatever you're betting, you're getting back. So if I'm betting $25 on tails, I'm going to win $25 on tails. And that's the way it should be. I love that DraftKings does it like that. And by the way, tails never fails. So that's the way we're going.
See, so it should be minus 105.
There you go. It actually is, fun fact, it's like a very even split. I think it's 28 and 27 or something along those lines, whatever adds up. But
hey, you flip it enough times, it'll come up 50-50. Now, what are some of the prop bets that you're looking for there, or that you think are good opportunities for people in the Super Bowl?
Sure. There are a number of them. One that I've really been liking, because as we're talking about minus numbers and plus numbers, looking for value and better bets and more money that you can make by betting less. One that I really like actually is Isaiah Pacheco, the Chiefs running back, to have a rushing touchdown. For an anytime touchdown, which means it could be rushing or receiving or whatever way it's going to come, that's minus 125, minus 130. So you have to bet $130 to win that 100 back. For him just to have a rushing touchdown specifically, the price is plus 115.
Ooh.
So it's a much better bet from that standpoint, especially because in the last 7 games where he's had 8 touchdowns, 7 of them have been on the ground. And if there is, I mean, there's a lot of flaws of this 49ers defense, unfortunately. As a fan, I feel like I can say that honestly. But their run defense has not been great, especially in the playoffs. You look at how they got gashed by Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. Anybody could do whatever they wanted. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be an important piece for the Chiefs in this game. And so him to score a touchdown seems very reasonable. A rushing touchdown specifically is a better payout.
All right. What's one more that we should be paying attention to?
One that I was looking at was Brock Purdy's rushing yards, actually. A lot of people are looking at his rushing yards. I was looking at his rushing attempts. His yards are at 12 and a half, which I do think is very reasonable to go over. It's been a very popular bet. But
Yeah.
again, trying to think of a value type of a wager that we can do, that bet is minus 110, minus 115. But if you do his attempts over 3.5 rushing attempts, so all you need to do is for him to try to run 4 times, it's plus 130. And so again, it's just a better payout, another way to bet something that's very similar. And I think based on the way we've seen Brock Purdy utilize his legs in the playoffs so far, which has been very different from what we saw in the regular season, he's had 5 and 6 attempts in the 2 playoff games to this point, that I think it's very reasonable to expect he could get 4 when it comes to Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. How much do you think that the Swifties watching the game are actually going to be looking at those Taylor Swift props, like, ooh, over under, how many times she gets shown, how many seconds, and everything else?
I think they should, especially because, and I don't know how you feel about this, but even if you're not betting at an actual sports book and you're going down and laying money at it, I love the idea of doing a fun prop sheet at home with your family.
Yeah.
And you just highlight and circle what you think is going to happen, and whoever gets the most right wins. I don't know, you can get like a nothing bunt cake or $20 or whatever it is for just the house and to have fun. And so, yeah, throw a Taylor Swift prop in there, throw something fun and unique and different in it, but they'll definitely be watching. And let me tell you, I have a 10-year-old sister, okay?
Yeah.
She, like me, is a 49ers fan. And we are in a predicament here because of Taylor Swift. She's learned a whole lot more about the Chiefs, and she loves Travis Kelce. And last week during the AFC Championship game, every time he gets a catch, she's losing her mind. She's on my phone on the ESPN app seeing how many yards he has. I'm like, you can't be this person on Super Bowl Sunday, Olivia. You got to rein it in, sister.
Lock
this
it
is
up.
a San
Lock it
Francisco
up.
49ers household. Whew. So, yeah, we're going to be in for a treat there.
Final thing for you. So we already know what it's like for women in sports just in general, and and men putting up crazy stuff like kitchen or whatever else. What is it like to being in the betting part of it? Which now this is where the real experts are.
Yeah, it's interesting, because especially growing up in a family where like I felt always like I was so appreciated and so valued, and even in a lot of the early jobs in my career, and fortunately with the people that I work with now, I've had wonderful like male mentors that really respect me and understand that I work really hard to know the game and I love the game, and that anybody can love the game and talk about it knowledgeably. And so it's been a little bit defeating sometimes on social media, the way people talk when they don't know you and they don't know your background and they don't know how hard you work. And it's hard that sometimes people prematurely judge before they actually know anything about you. But I think it's something that has become less when you think about like the things that some people had to go through back in the day, a Leslie Visser or, some of the like legends of women in sports and what they had to overcome to get to the point that they did. So I feel so fortunate that I'm in such a different era of life, but it's definitely a boys club. It's probably still going to be for a while. And I'm just so appreciative that I've had the good fortune of largely working with people who appreciate me and my opinions and want to elevate me and keep me as a part of their conversation instead of saying to the side and, oh, you're going to go play reporter today. You're going to go play. Like,
Ooh.
No, that's not what it is. They know that you're here for a reason. And I appreciate those folks.
Now I want to see how honest that you're going to be, Stormy.
Okay. What we got?
So the 49ers are obviously playing the Kansas City Chiefs. What's the line as of right now?
So currently the 49ers are a 2-point favorite, and the total number of points that are going to be scored in the game is set at 47.5. So you can bet over or under 47.
Where's your money at, Stormy?
Well, I am in a very interesting position here. So because I am a fan, I bet a future, which is a bet that you can do at the beginning of the season or anytime really throughout the course of the season on who you think is going to win. And because I am a fan of the team, I do that. I've done it the last handful of years where I bet on my favorite team to win the Super Bowl. So I already have a bet on the 49ers. I'm going to be sweating that out as a fan and enjoy it. But what I did do is another thing, so we can keep like the education going for sports betting now.
Hedging.
What I did bet is, well, to an extent. I did what's called a teaser. and a same game teaser. So we talked about same game parlays. I'm doing a same game teaser where I can basically give myself extra points in a parlay. So I've taken the Chiefs from 2 points. I'm doing a 7-point teaser. So from 2 points to where they're getting 9 points. So Chiefs plus 9 paired with under 54 and a half. So I'm taking the 47 and a half up to 54 and a half and putting those together. So I need both of those things to happen for me to win the bet. But that's kind of my little mini hedge to an extent of I think that this is, so I think it's going to be a closer game. Probably a lot of run game like we talked about with Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco. So maybe longer possessions, which is going to limit the number of possessions we're going to see in the game. Lends a little bit more toward an under, but I didn't feel particularly confident at 47 and a half. So I'm giving myself a touchdown's worth of wiggle room, and you just put those together and fingers crossed that all of my bets hit. So San Francisco wins, but the Chiefs keep it close enough and we have an under.
All right. Well, I got my money on the Chiefs. I'm sorry, Stormy.
Come on. I thought we were friends. I thought we were really bonding.
But at the same time, that would disappoint guys that I know very well, Eric Armstead, and Diamador, Lenore, and the rest of the Ducks that are going to be playing in the game. But man, it's just I think we're watching one of the greats of all time.
It's tough, and I agree with you. And it's just a dynasty that's being created in Kansas City right now. And at the end of the day, like even though this has been a Chiefs team that's really relied on its defense, oddly enough, this year, you still have that threat of it's Patrick Mahomes and it's Andy Reid, and I totally get it. I would just love to see it come to an end on Sunday. So we'll see.
And you guys, she's Stormy Buonantony. You can find her over at VSiN on the Lombardi Line. Stormy, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Enjoy the game and great getting to chat with you.
All right.